They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom.
Wow.
I love it.
Sophie Cunningham doesn't live like a normal WNBA player. She lives like a storm. At 6, she was breaking boards as a black belt. Today, she's breaking hearts on Instagram. Her life isn't normal. It's a mix of farm grit, martial arts discipline, fashion headlines, and millionaire brand deals. This is the side of Sophie Cunningham the cameras never really capture, the side that makes her lifestyle one of the wildest stories in all of women's basketball.
You know, I think on the court, everyone knows me as just kind of like feisty, sassy, competitive. But really, at the end of the day, I love everybody. I'm chill, I'm dorky, I'm the biggest dweeb you'll ever meet.
Before Sophie Cunningham ever stepped into a WNBA arena, her life looked nothing like the polished highlight reels fans know today. She grew up in Columbia, Missouri, on a family farm where early mornings meant chores, not sleep-ins. While most kids were glued to cartoons, Sophie was out feeding animals, riding horses bareback, and toughening up without even realizing it.
I grew up riding horses, four-wheelers, tractor rides, doing back roads, which we call like you get in a truck and you blare music and you go ride the back road.
Her parents, Jim and Paula, weren't raising kids in a normal household. They were raising competitors. Jim played football at the University of Missouri. Paula threw javelin and dominated multiple sports. Sports were in Sophie's DNA before she could walk, and her older sister Lindsay was both her best friend and her fiercest rival. And when most 6-year-olds were still figuring out training wheels, Sophie was breaking boards. At just 6 years old, she earned a black belt in Taekwondo, something that takes most adults years of grueling work. This wasn't a kid's participation trophy, this was the real deal. Sophie learned control, focus, and how to stay calm when someone tried to knock her down. Lessons that would define her style years later when elbows and hard fouls came her way on the basketball court. But it wasn't just martial arts. At home, the Cunningham driveway doubled as a battleground. Sophie and Lindsay's one-on-one basketball games often ended in what Sophie herself once called bloody battles. Elbows connected with faces, knees banged against concrete, and someone usually walked away with a bruise or tears. But 5 minutes later, they'd be back outside daring each other to play again. Most siblings are told not to fight. In the Cunningham household, conflict was part of the training. Every game was a lesson in toughness. Every loss was motivation to get better. The family rule was simple: don't quit. It wasn't dysfunction, it was preparation.
Just the competitor that I am. I'm fierce, I'm sassy. I stick up for my teammates, stick up for myself, and so sometimes I think that's okay to be feisty and to be yourself.
By the time Sophie was a teenager, she wasn't just playing sports, she was mastering the mental edge. Pain didn't scare her. Pressure didn't rattle her. And unlike so many young athletes who crumble when the spotlight hits, Sophie had already spent her childhood thriving in chaos, and that edge, it would make her stand out in ways no one could ignore once high school came calling. At Rockbridge High School, Sophie Cunningham quickly proved she was more than just a talented player. On the basketball court, she scored nearly 2,000 career points and led her team to a dominant record. She was named Missouri's Gatorade Player of the Year and became one of the top recruits in the country. But Sophie's high school years weren't only about basketball. In 2014, Rockbridge's football team lost their starting kicker to injury right before the playoffs. Most schools would turn to another football player. Rockbridge turned to Sophie. She didn't hesitate. She put on the pads, lined up with the team, and made history as the first female player in school history to score for the varsity football team. The timing made the moment even crazier. On homecoming night, Sophie was announced as a queen candidate in a dress. Minutes later, she was in full gear, kicking extra points under the stadium lights. This wasn't just a one-time stunt. Sophie stayed with the team through the playoffs, proving that if there was a challenge, she'd face it head-on.
What's more nerve-wracking, having to put down 2 free throws at the end of a close game or kick a field goal?
Kick a field goal. Kick a field goal.
By the time she graduated, Sophie wasn't just a basketball star, she was an athlete who had already shown she could do what most people wouldn't even try. And with college scouts watching closely, her next move would turn her into a hometown legend. When Sophie Cunningham graduated from Rockbridge High School in 2015, she could have gone anywhere. Top programs across the country wanted her, but she chose to stay home and play for the University of Missouri. From her very first season, she made an impact. As a freshman, she averaged 14 points and nearly 6 rebounds a game, winning SEC Freshman of the Year. She wasn't just adjusting to college basketball, she was one of the best players in the conference right away. Sophie went on to start all 129 games of her college career. By the time she graduated in 2019, she had scored 2,187 points, making her Missouri's all-time leading scorer. She also set records for free throws, ranked among the leaders in three-pointers, and added hundreds of rebounds and assists. But stats only tell part of the story. Sophie played with fire. Missouri fans loved her passion, but rival fans saw her as cocky and even dirty. She was the kind of player who drew boos in every arena, but also respect because she never backed down. More importantly, she lifted Missouri's program to new heights. With Sophie, the Tigers made 4 straight NCAA tournament appearances, something the school had never done before. She turned Missouri into a nationally relevant program. Her senior year capped it all off. She became the school's first ever Associated Press All-American, was named All-SEC first team for the 3rd straight year, and left as the heartbeat of Missouri basketball. By the time she walked off the court for the last time in Columbia, Sophie was more than just a star player. She was a hometown legend, the face of a program, and a proven leader. But college glory is one thing. The WNBA was next, and that meant starting all over again at the bottom.
League that I'm like, why am I here? Like, am I really supposed to be here? Like, it is hard. Like, sometimes you don't have people that really are like you or believe in the same thing as you, or on the same page as you. And it's really hard to be like the only one standing strong sometimes.
In 2019, Sophie Cunningham was drafted 13th overall by the Phoenix Mercury. It was the highest draft pick in Missouri program history and the start of her professional career. Her rookie season wasn't glamorous. She averaged just over 3 points a game, mostly coming off the bench, but she showed flashes of what was to come, like a 19-point performance against the Indiana Fever and one of the best free throw percentages among rookies. Over the next few seasons, Sophie slowly carved out her place. By 2022, she had earned a starting role and had the best season of her career, averaging 12.6 points and 4.4 rebounds while shooting nearly 45% from the field. She proved she wasn't just a role player, she could be a reliable scorer and one of the league's most dangerous three-point shooters. At the same time, her style of play built her reputation. Sophie became known as a fiery competitor, someone who wasn't afraid of contact or confrontation. Fans called her scrappy, opponents called her dirty, but nobody doubted her toughness. She also spent one off-season playing overseas in Australia with the Melbourne Boomers, where she kept improving her game and proving she could perform in any environment. After 6 seasons in Phoenix, her time with the Mercury came to an end in 2025. She was part of a 4-team trade that sent her to the Indiana Fever. Fever general manager Amber Cox summed it up perfectly. Cunningham was a player we've targeted for a while, one of the best shooters in our league. In the WNBA, Sophie had gone from overlooked rookie to a respected starter. But what really made her stand out wasn't just her game, it was her life off the court. Sophie Cunningham's game turned heads on the court, but her personality and fashion choices made just as much noise off it. In 2024, one of her pre-game outfits went viral across social media. She showed up in a cutout dress that looked straight out of Love Island, tan lines and all. Instead of shying away from the attention, Sophie laughed it off, even joking that her mom had picked the outfit. That moment captured exactly who she is: confident, playful, and unbothered by outside opinions.
So you trying to come at me, you will never get to me because first of all, I don't care enough. And second of all, who are you? Like, I just get 2 shits. And I think that's my best attribute is I don't give a shit. And sometimes that's why I get fined, because I don't give a shit. So for people who come at me about that type of stuff, good for you. Like, I hope you got your rocks off.
On Instagram, Sophie built a following of over 1 million by showing more than just basketball. Her feed mixes everything: beach photos, gym sessions, glamorous shoots, and behind-the-scenes moments. While most athletes keep their brand limited to the game, Sophie leaned into lifestyle content and made her stand out not only as a player but as a personality. But her posts aren't random, they're strategic. Sophie shows fans both sides: strength and femininity, toughness and style. She proved you can drop 20 points one night and pose in designer clothes the next without compromising either side of who you are. Beyond Instagram, Sophie expanded her media presence by joining the Phoenix Suns broadcast team as an analyst in 2022. She appeared on pregame, halftime, and postgame shows, showing she could break down the NBA just as well as she played in the WNBA. That role gave her credibility in sports media and hinted at a possible career after basketball. With her mix of viral moments, authentic personality, and a growing media platform, Sophie showed she wasn't just building a basketball career, she was building a brand. And behind all of it, there was something even more important that kept her grounded: her faith and her family. For all the attention Sophie Cunningham gets for her fashion and fiery play, she always points to one thing that keeps her balanced: her faith. Sophie is a devout Christian, and her routine before every game makes that clear. She draws a cross on her shoes, then on her knees, her heart, and her forehead. It's her way of centering herself, reminding her who she's playing for, and keeping her emotions in check when the game gets intense. She often shares Bible verses on social media, with one of her favorites being Romans 8:28. God promises to work all things to good for those who love him. For Sophie, faith isn't just personal, it's part of her public identity. She uses her platform to encourage others and never hides the role God plays in her career. Family is just as central. Her sister Lindsay, who also played basketball at Missouri, remains her closest supporter. The two even have matching tattoos, a three-wave design inspired by a Bible verse symbolizing faith, family, and unity. Growing up, their battles in the driveway made them competitors, but as adults, they've become each other's biggest motivators. Even her extended family played a part. Sophie's grandparents and great-grandmother were fixtures at her college games, showing how deep those roots run. To Sophie, success has always been about more than just winning. It's about honoring the people who shaped her. That faith and family foundation explains why Sophie rarely loses control on the court, even when things get physical. She's been trained, both spiritually and mentally, to stay composed under pressure. And it also explains how she approaches life off the court, whether it's choosing endorsement deals, posting on social media, or mentoring young athletes. She wants everything to reflect who she is at her core. But faith and family aren't the only parts of her lifestyle that stand out. Sophie has also built a strong financial profile and a growing list of business moves. By 2025, Sophie Cunningham had built more than just a career in basketball. She had built a brand. On the court, her WNBA salary placed her among the league's steady contributors. In 2024, she earned around $120,000. And when she signed her one-year extension with Phoenix in 2025, the deal was worth about $100,000, not superstar money by NBA standards, but a solid foundation for a young player. Off the court, Sophie made up the difference. She signed with Adidas and often appeared in their gear both in games and on social media. She partnered with fitness brands like Quest Nutrition and even took on skincare sponsorships. These deals weren't random. They aligned with her image as an energetic, health-focused, and stylish athlete. She also added media work to her portfolio. As a Suns analyst, she earned a paycheck while building credibility as a future broadcaster. It was another example of Sophie thinking ahead, using her personality and knowledge of the game to prepare for life after playing. Altogether, her basketball salary, endorsement deals, and media work pushed her estimated net worth to around $1.5 million by 2025. For a player just 6 years into her WNBA career, that put her among the league's more successful earners. But Sophie's lifestyle wasn't about luxury mansions or flashy cars. She still spent a lot of her time outdoors, going back to her roots, fishing, horseback riding, swimming, and enjoying family time in Missouri.
This is my favorite topic ever. I am such a pool girl. And I promise you, my teammates and my coaches know that on an off day, if you cannot get a hold of me, it's because I'm at the pool. And so a perfect off day to me is I'm waking up late. When I say late, maybe 10:30, but just to get my swimsuit on, brush my teeth, probably not gonna brush my hair, and go straight to the pool for the rest of the day. That is my vibe.
She balanced the image of a viral fashion star with the reality of someone who still valued simplicity. That balance between money, fame, and staying grounded is what makes Sophie stand out. She's proof that a player can turn their platform into a business while still staying connected to who they really are. And in her personal life, Sophie's choices reveal something else most fans don't know. She's fiercely independent. For all the headlines Sophie Cunningham has made, there's one part of her life she keeps surprisingly quiet: her dating life. Unlike many athletes who put relationships in the spotlight, Sophie has made it clear she's single and happy that way. She's even joked on social media about not having a boyfriend, saying she'd rather focus on basketball, family, and her faith. This independence has become part of her appeal. Fans see her as authentic, someone who doesn't chase clout, doesn't stage relationships for attention, and doesn't let outside expectations dictate her choices. It also fits the pattern of her entire career. Sophie has always gone her own way. She stayed in Missouri when she could have left for a bigger program. She put on football pads when no one thought she should. She built a brand around being both tough and stylish when critics tried to box her into just one role. Her private life is no different. She's comfortable building her own path without rushing into anything just because the world expects it. For Sophie Cunningham, independence isn't just about her relationship status, it's about living life on her terms. Whether that means posting what she wants on Instagram, standing firm in her faith, or refusing to tone down her fiery personality on the court, that's why her lifestyle resonates with fans. She represents a kind of freedom most people want, the ability to be yourself no matter who's watching. And when you put all of these pieces together, the farm upbringing, the black belt, the football nights, the records at Missouri, the fiery WNBA career, the viral fashion, the faith, the family, the money moves, and the independence, you start to see why Sophie Cunningham's lifestyle is unlike anyone else's in the game today. Love her or hate her, Sophie Cunningham's lifestyle proves she's more than just a player. She's a story still being written.